Oh, man, that sucks. But at least they still got hot dogs. Are you stupid? Are you fucking stupid? Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today. This one's going to be doing a review for the Walking Dead universe and another video for the Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. This is going to be doing our final review for Daryl Dixon Season 3. This is for Season 3, Episode 7, the finale titled Solaz Dormir. So, really called Solaz Dormir. The last episode, I called Solaz Dormir, but it was actually something else. Frickin' AMC Plus glitched and for some reason called the last episode Solaz Dormir. I don't frickin' know. But anyway, very much enjoyed this finale, very much enjoyed the conclusion to this season. I really liked it, man. I really did. I thought it was awesome and kind of wrapped everything up in a, in a really nice way, while still kind of keeping us in Spain, because obviously we still got one more season of that, so I knew what to expect going into this, of course. I was not getting excited about Daryl going home, because we're not going to get anything like that until next season. Next season, we can start expecting that. This season, not so much. But yeah, no, I liked it. I really liked it. I thought it was great. I thought they did a really good job. And, I mean, the episode starts off, and I was instantly in a good mood. So, the episode starts off, again, massive spoiler warning if you haven't seen it. We start the episode off with Codron in Spain. That's right. We start things off with Codron. So we haven't seen Codron since the end of Season 2 when he ran off to go find his brother in that stupid scene in that frickin' tunnel, which I must admit, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you right now, this obliterates the Season 2 finale. This was really good. This ended a lot of things in a good way. And, well, you see Codron at the beginning, and he's at that, site or whatever where Daryl left the Rubik's Cube that was Laurent's, and, you got Codron that picks it up, and he's like, what the hell, So he's tracking Daryl over the course of this episode, which I thought was really awesome. But yeah, no, we got Codron back. That is a massive W for us, because I've been saying it ever since he left, that they never should have had him off the show, that he's a really, really good character, and that they should use him, and it looks like they're going to be using him in Season 4. So I'm very happy to see that, for sure. I think that's really, really cool. But yeah, so after that, of course, we get to see Daryl. He is, of course, making his way through, in Barcelona with Paz, of course, and stuff like that. They're making their way through. Well, they were in Barcelona, but now they're in El Bazaar or Cigar or something, a bar or something. I don't friggin' know. Anyway, they're making their way through, and they get in the back of this convoy, right, to go to, obviously, where the King of Spain and the next King of Spain are held up at, where this party's taking place and all that kind of stuff. And I thought it was really interesting because we got to see a sequence in this one, and we saw it a few times, where you had Paz that was, she had shorter hair, she was younger, and she was having these, kind of memories of it, and she was down on the ground, and you had the King of Spain, the next King of Spain, that had her down on the ground like that, and he was, beating the crap out of her and stuff like that. So yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. We saw, some minor flashbacks of her interacting with him. As back then, you know what I mean, he abused her, and he, did whatever he wanted with her, and, well, obviously now she's taking the fight right to him, so I thought that was cool. So we get some Paz lore in this one, and those few scenes, which I thought was really cool. I liked seeing that. Paz is fantastic. If y'all didn't know, she shouted out the friggin' channel the other day, so I was like, okay, well, there you go. And she responded to the review, too, so I was like, damn, that's incredible. But yeah, Paz has been really good. I like the lore that we got for her in this one. That's definitely really good. And, well, she survives the finale, so I was glad about that. So we get the intro, final intro, then we cut back, and we've got Antonio that is being, used, of course, on Fed's, I guess, command, and he's like, yeah, I let my son go, my son's gone, Carol's gone, I don't really care what happens to me, because they're safe, and he's like, well, that may be true, but this and this and this, and he's just like, well, you're gonna have to answer for what you did and all that, so you've got Fed that really does not want to give Antonio another chance. He wants to kill him, he wants to make an example out of him, all this type of stuff, and you got his mother that's kind of questioning him, and you could tell that he gets upset about that, so she kind of backs off for her own safety, right? Because I don't know if he would ever hurt his mother, probably not, but at the same time, you never know. You could definitely tell the guy is going a little crazy, you know what I mean? Fed is definitely going a little bit, kind of mental. He's lost sight of how he's leading his community, you know what I'm saying? He's lost sight of the whole thing. He's lost the plot, if you will. And the guy genuinely is dangerous, and that's the big thing about him, So then we've got Carol that, of course, lets, everybody know at the tower, of course, that she's going to go back in. She takes, some of that, older woman's guys or whatever, and the horny woman, you know what I mean? You got her. She lets Carol have a few of her people. And they go back into Solaz de Mer, and you've got Antonio that's being, just put in front of, this, big thing. He's being hung up there like a friggin' piñata or whatever, and they're hurting him, they're torturing him, all this other type of stuff, and Carol views this, and you've got, obviously Federico that, is like, yeah, these Americans, when I find them, we're gonna take them out, you know what I mean? So, thought that was pretty crazy. You had Carol kind of standing there. The guy was translating for her, you know what I mean? And meanwhile, you had Daryl and you had Paz that, went into the convoy. They got into the location where they were at. They got into the party. They put the masks on just like everybody else, and they blend in. And we learned a few things in this one. We saw the actual King of Spain, which is some old happy dude, and even the Queen of Spain as well. We saw her as well. They were kind of giving a speech and stuff like that, saying yeah, we trust that, this guy over here, this freaking loser that's been taking women, he will be the perfect next King of Spain. I'm like, huh? Excuse me? I don't think he will be. I think you're looking at a Joffrey from Game of Thrones situation, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah, you got that going on. You've got them. They kind of make the speech, this and that. Daryl and Paz are going through the crowd watching this. And then they've got walkers as a display on stage, which they're going around in these outfits and this and that. And this was their weakness because the walkers get loose, and then obviously Daryl improvises, you know what I'm saying? And then the walkers come after them, and just like that, the friggin' King of Spain and the Queen of Spain both just get devoured by zombies. So, okay, that was quick. And then obviously the zombies take over. You've got Daryl and Paz. They're making their way through, you know what I mean? And she goes to go find, obviously, her girlfriend. And Daryl's like, yeah, go find her, go find Elena, and I will, get, obviously Justinia out of there and stuff like that. And Justinia is forced to go with some boy or whatever when everything kind of, goes crazy. And basically you got Justinia that is, kind of forced to do whatever the guy says. Meanwhile, you've got Daryl that looks for her, and, she pulls out a knife, she turns on the guy. Justinia was, obviously pretty brave there, I would say. And then the guy kind of gets the upper hand on her. They almost kill Justinia. They kind of struggle with the knife a little bit, but then Daryl comes in and saves her, you know what I'm saying? So that was fantastic. And she hugs him. She's like, thank you, I like Justinia. I like her, you know what I'm saying? I like her personality, and I like that she is very appreciative of Daryl, you know what I mean? She recognizes what kind of badass he is, you know what I mean? She sees Daryl save her from the moment she was about to just get killed, and her first instinct's to run to him and thank him and this and that. And you can tell Daryl doesn't like to be complimented too much, He's not used to compliments, so I like the way they did that. That was really cool. And then you've got Paz in this one, which I would actually say this is one of my favorite scenes of the season right here, where she goes up to Elena. You see the kid that she has, and then she's like, okay, that's why you haven't left, and she kind of feels bad. And then she sees the kid there that, Elena has, and then she's kind of like, okay, what do we do? You know what I mean? Do I leave you here? This place is crowded with the dead now, you know what I mean? It's overran. But, no, actually, Lena, stays loyal to Paz, and she's like, okay, just give me and my son a few minutes to pack, and then we'll be out of here, you know what I mean? And that's what happens. But then the next King of Spain comes through the damn door, and you've got Paz that, of course, tries to fight him off, but then they knock her down. And then they parallel the flashbacks with the current timeline, except in this version, obviously, which I thought was kind of cool. Yelena helps her out and shoots the King of Spain to save her, and, the past doesn't repeat itself. Back then, she took the abuse from the King of Spain, the next King of Spain, and nowadays, in the current timeline, you've got her girlfriend that saves her life from the next King of Spain. So I thought that was fantastic. So that was great. Now, yeah, that was awesome. That was a great moment. And you're probably thinking to yourself, Dan, like, I thought you didn't like the King of Spain. What do you mean you like this sequence? Well, put it this way. I don't care about the King of Spain. He's a boring villain. So the fact that you killed him in this finale, meaning that in season 4, we can hopefully get to a better villain, that's good for me. I'm not going to cry about it because I didn't like his character at all. Good job. You had a fight with Paz. Good job. You had some walkers overcrowding a dance party and a whatever, and you had Daryl saving Justinia. I got all the W's I wanted, so honestly, I was perfectly fine with it. Nothing pissed me off. Nothing was, whatever. Do I wish that we had more time with the next King of Spain? I honestly don't. The actor was boring, and the character was even more boring than the actors. So, honestly, I'm good with them just doing what they did, having them go up against Paz, having a big fight scene, big moment, and then, just moving on. So, because this is not a storyline, I would say, that should have lasted more than one season. So, I'm glad that they cleared that out. You know what I mean? Because for a final season next season, I don't think we should have been doing this. So I'm glad they didn't do that. I'm glad that they got to the point. So we got Paz, her girlfriend, and her son, and basically they are moving out. And I like the moment where, like, they're kind of like, all right, like, where do we go next? Like, everybody's dead. And you got Daryl that's, like, yeah, well, as long as that kid ain't driving, and you see the kid, so that was great. I like seeing that. It was adorable. And we had the kid, Paz, and her girlfriend that part ways. They decide they're going to go back to Barcelona, to that community, and live happily ever after. And you got Daryl that's basically like, all right, like, thanks for everything. He, like, says goodbye to Paz and stuff like that. And, he's like, well, you could have done it without me. And Daryl's like, yeah, probably could have, which you're right. It's Daryl's show. He probably could have, But I like that. They say their goodbye. Please tell me we're going to see Paz again in season 4. I really like her character. I hope we get to see more of her in season 4. But they go their own separate ways, and then Justinia gets on the bike with Daryl, and you see this amazing, like, I think 5 to 10 minutes or so, with them riding, back to, obviously, Solaz de Mer, and back to, their main location and stuff like that, and I actually like the realism there, too, like, they gotta stop midway through, Daryl fills up his, gas tank, and they come back, I like that, and I like the conversation that Justinia has with Daryl, where, he's kind of like, everybody sucks these days. Everybody that's still alive. Nobody really likes to help one another. And Daryl's like, I've been running my whole life. It feels like something got lost. You know what I mean? And he's just trying to look for a chance to, get it back. So I like that. That was really cool. And then she gets on the bike with him. And, she goes back with him to go see Antonio. And obviously her boyfriend, Roberto. It's pretty crazy because, you have a moment there where she goes to the tower. She's all excited. But then, boom. The friggin' tower is raided by a bunch of men. Probably a bunch of feds men, I would assume. And then they're standing there like that, and it's like, oh crap, what's going on? And then Daryl comes in, swings, gets them all. The old lady gets injured a little bit, but that's it. They attacked and stuff like that. Then that's their cue for Daryl to go into Solaz de Mer to finish this whole thing, and that is what they do. But he tells Justinia, you're not going. You're staying back. I just got you back. Damn it. You're staying here. So that's the idea there. So Daryl goes into Solaz de Mer, and you've got Antonio, Carol, and Roberto, basically, and they get captured. They're helped out for a little while there, but unfortunately, they do end up getting, recaptured and captured by, Fed and stuff like that, and they make an example out of them, and they basically put them in front of a bunch of walkers in the town and let them fight it out while they're all chained up, you know what I'm saying? So, they're fighting them off. And then Daryl comes in, snipes a good bunch of his, frickin' guys. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, Daryl, like, you could have just gotten him. You know what I'm saying? You could have gotten him right away. And then I feel like the rest would have backed down, But maybe he wasn't close enough. But, I like that. That was really good. Daryl comes in, saves the day, and helps them out. Thought that was really cool. And then, of course, on top of everything else, Daryl comes in, saves them, and then you got Justinia that walks in. Badass Justinia. She walks in, and she's like, Fed lied to all of you guys, And she actually gets the entire town to turn on her side and Daryl's side and say, hey, lock this guy up, you know what I'm saying? Because Federico, he killed a cat, okay? He was gonna kill Carol and Antonio. Would I say he's worthy of death in that moment? You could say it's reasonable, for sure, but I don't know. And I've heard some people online kind of complaining about the fact that they didn't just shoot him on, on sight. I honestly understood it because it's not like he killed like a massive character or anything. I know he was going to. I know that's, kind of the point. But he didn't, you know what I'm saying? You could restore law with him, put him in jail. I get that, honestly. I really do. It didn't really, it didn't piss me off or anything like that. I understood it, honestly. But, the moment I liked is when, Justina turns the whole town around. It's like, yeah, Daryl is why, the whole group, the whole Ofrenda group is dead. You know what I mean? And Daryl just stands there, like the hero of the town at the end, So, really badass there, and he should be. He did a good job. He cleaned house pretty damn quick, I ain't gonna lie. Either it means that the Ofrenda just suck at their job, or it means that Daryl's a badass. I think it's a mixture of both, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but there you go. That was awesome. And then they, of course, get ready to, get the boat going. They're ready to sail back to America, this and that. And I'm just thinking to myself the whole time, I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Because there's a scene in the trailer where Daryl and Carol are looking at something burning. I already knew where it was going. I was like, yep, they're going to burn the boat, and that's why they're in Spain in the next season. Thank God next season is the last season. Even though I've enjoyed this season and season 1, I still am glad the show is ending. We can't drag out them going home any longer. We can't. And they end it on a cliffhanger, basically. You've got Federico that sweet talks his mom into getting him out of jail. He shows up to Daryl in the middle of the night, right at the boat, and shoots at him, and then he's like, yeah, like, I let you into my town, you ruined everything, you did all this stuff, and he tries to shoot Daryl, and then, obviously Carol saves Daryl, and then he shoots in the wrong direction. Fire starts on the boat, they try to take out the fire, and unfortunately it does not work. The boat blows up and explodes, and burns down. So, as you've got Codron that sees this from a distance. So, I thought that was really cool, too. And then they take Federico down. Now, I'm going to have to go back to make sure. Did they kill him? Because it looks like they did, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe they did. I have no idea. I'm going to have to go back to make 100% sure if he actually died there in that moment, because I'm not 100% sure if he did or not. All right, so I just took a look at the scene again because I had to make sure I could specify. So from what I'm seeing here, you got Antonio that takes a rock and knocks him out. That's what I'm getting here. So, okay, so they didn't, so I'm assuming next season they're probably going to have him either made an example out of or something. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but I think he's still alive, y'all. I didn't actually pick up on that. I thought he died when I watched the episode last night. I don't think he's dead, y'all. I don't think he is. So, I don't know. I don't know where that goes from there. But yeah, there you go. But he does ruin their boat, so you can kill him all you want. Honestly, I'm good with that. Now I say kill him. Next season, I hope they kill him, honestly. And then, because I don't think he died there, y'all. I don't think he did. I thought he did, but I don't think so. It was a dark episode. I remember I was watching it late last night, and I thought, I was like, oh, he killed him. No, I don't think he did, actually. I'm watching the scene again. I'm like, no, I don't think they killed him. So, yeah, pretty crazy. Yeah. Anyway, craziness there, and then you got Johnny Cash hurt in the background as you see the boat burning and blowing up, as you've got Carol and Daryl standing there watching this. We've seen that shot in the trailer many times, and that is the ending shot of the season as they watch it burn, and now they're going to have to figure another way to get out of there, you know what I mean? Well, you know what, at least the positive thing about this whole thing, right, even though their boat is messed up, is that at least they have kind of a family figure, you know what I'm saying? Now, like, Daryl's kind of the lead of Solaz Darmer, which is kind of cool. And you've got, like, Justina and Roberto and Antonio and this and that, and Paz is still around if you need her, you know what I mean? Like, it feels like they got a tight-knit group, though, you know what I mean? And Codron's going to show up, so together, I think they can do it. And that's what excites me about Season 4, is that, like, we've got a lot of really good characters going into Season 4. We've got a lot of really good characters, because, one of the reasons I wasn't all that excited when the season started, as you guys know, is because it was just Daryl and Carol with no other, characters. I like when there's a cast of characters, you know what I mean? Like, when you can alternate from scene to scene, and it's not just Daryl and Carol, you know what I mean? Like, it's actually a bunch of characters that are really good. And that's what we have going into Season 4, especially with Codron coming back. So, I was really happy with the way that ended, because I knew he wasn't going to go back. Like, you can't let the boat blowing up piss you off at this point, because, I mean, who wouldn't know that that's how they're going to end it? You know what I mean? So, like, the only way I'm going to be pissed off is if Daryl doesn't get back home next season. You know what I mean? But at least for this season, I thought that was a really cool way of concluding it. I thought it was kind of, everything seems nice, but then, final tragedy type of moments. So, yeah, I thoroughly liked this episode. I've seen a little bit of hate on it online. I don't get it, y'all. I don't. I really don't. And this is coming from a guy that does not really like these spinoffs being around. Like, I'm not a big fan of some of these shows sometimes, but I'll tell you this, man, I really liked where this season went. I did. I really genuinely did. I thought it was really good. I think the only weak point of season 3 really is just Carol at the beginning of the season and the King of Spain over the course of the season was just not enough of a interesting character for me. Aside from that, I think it's been a really great season. I think they did a really good job with it. I think everything kind of worked out in a good way. And I think for what the show is, because you gotta separate it from other shows that Walking Dead has done. For what this show is as its own thing, I would say this season was pretty good. It was pretty good. It wasn't amazing, but I thought it was pretty darn good. It was way better than season 2. And I think they did a good enough job with what they did. I liked pretty much every character that they introduced, and except for the King of Spain. It was really good, y'all. It really was. I think overall this is going to be a season of the spinoffs that I look at more fondly. Yeah, I had a few episodes near the beginning there where I was a little rough on it, but I think overall the season really redeemed itself for me, and it really... I don't know. I found a lot of enjoyment out of the last, 4 episodes, and I didn't mind episode 2. Episode 2 was pretty good. The only 2 I didn't like was episode 1 and 3. Aside from that, this season's been really good. Honestly, I did a good job with it. So, yeah, we'll do a full season review where we go through the whole thing, but that's my thoughts on the finale. I got a 10 out of 10 finale, genuinely. A 10 out of 10 for this episode. Again, for what this show is, I think it's a 10 out of 10. I think they did a good job with it. I think it wrapped everything up in a good way. Got rid of a villain that I didn't like. Good confrontations, good fight scenes, good action, good emotional scenes, good return for Codron. Overall, I really enjoyed it. So, if you're new to the channel, guys, and you enjoy videos like this, make sure to click subscribe button so you don't miss any of the videos. Make sure to follow me on Dan Views Official on Instagram, guys. And, of course, I'll see you guys really soon for whenever the next Walking Dead show is. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. Dan's reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected every plot twist beat. World gone mad, TV junkies hit a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a street fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shedding TV light.